There is so much our history books don't tell us. As the Palmetto State gets closer to marking America's 250th birthday, there are significant contributions by African Americans and others being remembered and celebrated. Well, joining me in front of the Stony Landing House is Eleanor Cooper Brown. She is research co-chair for the Berkeley 250 Francis Marion Commission. And it's just fascinating as we get closer and closer to the 250th birthday of our nation. We are learning so much, and what's right here in our very own backyard. Before we get into the Berkeley 250, I'd love to know your history here in South Carolina.
Well, I'm a native of Moncks Corner, and then I want to say thank you for inviting me.
It's our pleasure, it's our honor.
I'm a native of Moncks Corner, and I have been working in the biomedical research field for most of my career. I've worked in research and development departments, and also I've been a consultant for medical researchers.
So research is your wheelhouse.
My wheelhouse,
yes,
exactly.
Indeed. And how did you decide to be part of this celebration? Because it sounds like you've done a lot in researching your own background. So maybe take us along that journey as you're learning more about your own family.
Yeah, well, being that I am the historian for my family, and I also have a religious interest in the history of our religions, I created some tours that I coordinated for people, and as a result of that, I started working with the Berkeley Historical Society first.
Yes.
And then when the Berkeley 250 was organizing, I volunteered to help start.
I think that's fantastic. And I also appreciate the focus on the African American influence on the Revolutionary War. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, as we understand, there were a number of African Americans, Native Americans, yes, as well as women who had big roles in the American Revolution, but many of those stories are hidden.
Yeah.
They're nearly invisible in some spaces. So to research that specifically for Berkeley County was intriguing.
Yeah.
I remember my grandfather telling me some stories of his work when he was a young man, and he was born in 1900.
Oh, goodness.
And he told stories of driving wagons to cotton gins, yes, and plantations such as Northampton and Indian Field. And it took years, and even some of the work that I'm doing now, to realize that Northampton was General William Moultrie's plantation, his home.
Oh, wow.
So now it gives me a personal insight for which I'd like to explore further.
Yes, and we'd love to know more about it. Trying to locate all those bits of information to put the puzzle pieces together, was that a challenge?
Well, I'm just getting started, and it is a challenge.
Yeah, where are you finding the information?
I was encouraged by the Berkeley 250 Commission to apply for a grant through the South Carolina 250 Commission.
Yes.
And as a result, and my thanks goes out to them, I received the Patriots grant. So my research is to look through journals and hidden documents and all of those stories that may come out of putting all those pieces together.
So this is going to be a years-long endeavor for you.
Exactly.
Wow. So pouring through journals, where are you finding these journals? Where are they generally kept?
Typically in our historical society buildings, such as the South Carolina Historical Society, the South Carolina Library, yeah, archives in the Freedmen's Records, a lot of personal journals and, yeah, letters.
And as much as written documentation plays a role, do physical relics also tell a story?
Yes, I think they do.
Yeah.
I could give you one example of a most important physical relic, yeah, is that not many stories are published about the Africans who were conscripted or basically rented out, yes, to haul the palmetto logs, wow, from Dewey's Island to Fort Sullivan, which is now Fort Sumter. But it's also interesting too to connect the fact that the Battle of Fort Sullivan, mm-hmm, actually happened June 28, 1776. Okay. And within days, America declared her independence. So what a story.
That is such a story, and I can't wait to see the results of all of your research. Eleanor, thank you so much for letting us talk with you and for sharing this information. I think everyone is going to be anticipating some really heartfelt and fascinating stories to come. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank
We're
you
back
for having me.
after this.